Hey everybody, welcome back to Bloodborne. This is part 18 and we are in the Nightmare Lecture Hall again. This is the top floor. This you cannot actually access until you defeat the one reborn in Yahar Ghul. And we're going to start by coming into this room right here. I looked up to see if there was anything up there, but watch this. Yep. So there is a guy that, as you are trying to walk out of here, he has excellent timing and will jump down on you. Yeah, that note should probably be on either side of that exit there. So yeah, not too much is different about this place than the first time that we came, except for the fact that we're on the second floor. There is another guy up there. But I went through the lore of it in the last time we were there, so I don't really have a whole lot to say. We are going to meet the Patches Spider, the one that we talked to the last time we were here, and the one we talked to in that house in Forbidden Woods. So the gem that I actually have equipped on this saw spear decreases my weapon durability. So this is where I kind of start to realize that that may not be the best thing on Earth. It isn't really an issue if you remember to repair your weapon every time you go back to the Hunter's Dream, but I'm not used to doing that as I don't typically use gems like that. So it was starting to become a little annoying at this point, as I think that it's happened in at least one or two of the other episodes. I tried to get a little bit more damage out of it to compensate for it being broken by using the Phantasm Shell, but it didn't really work too well. Now in this room specifically, I did check these notes because this is what tells you how to get the final ending. It says 3/3 chords on there, which is hinting that you need 3 of those third umbilical cords, and that is sort of telling you what exactly is going on with the moon presence. And that's what you've been seeking the entire time. Yeah, I pretty much just said screw it at this point and started using the Augur Arbritus to take out these enemies. I don't believe at this point I had another weapon that I wanted to use, so there was nothing that I could really do. I didn't have any other weapons that had any gems on them. And there you can get the Communion Rune, just another level of that rune. Believe we may have already gotten one of those at least in the playthrough so far. Sometimes it's really hard to remember all that stuff going through all of these videos. And I thought about trying to fight him, but the damage that I was doing with the Augur of Abretus just would have taken me forever, so I decided to just forego that.
This cannot be. You cannot be. No, you didn't. Lord Amygdala? Oh, how did this come to pass? Now, wait just a moment. Do you think ill of me? Me? Oh, it pains me to hear it. You've made yourself a misreckoning. I shared with you a thing most secret. Now, you're witness to a miracle, and all the stronger for it. It's plain as a pikestaff. Now, say in my heart, you were as a lamb to my God. Well, you weren't to know, and it wasn't for you to know. All's well that ends well, I say. No matter. Such details are trifling. We're fast friends by now. Let this express what words cannot. Oh, doubt me not, sweet compeer. What is friendship but a chance encounter? Well met. My apologies, but I feel a profound thought occurring on the good grace of a certain God and the way he meted out his love. Well met. On the good...
So yeah, that was Patches. I didn't actually find him in Nightmare Frontier, but you can actually find him there, and he will do his usual Dark Souls tricks by kicking you down into the swamp there. And as you can see, I almost got killed by that church giant. But like I said, there was just not enough damage that I was doing to him that made me actually want to take him down. So I didn't bother with it in the end. But yeah, the Patches stuff is interesting. He gives you a really good rune. The clockwise and anti-clockwise metamorphosis runes are pretty decent. I tend to use those ones a whole lot more than probably any of the other runes, except maybe the moon and the air rune, which of course are the ones that give you more blood echoes. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for the Nightmare Lecture Hall here. Again, it just sort of serves as a little intermediate area between the Nightmare Frontier and the Nightmare Mensis, which we are actually about to go to now. And here we are in the Nightmare Mensis. So those guys, unless you want those little worms attacking you, you don't want to kill very many of the Lauren Silver Beasts here. Every Lauren Silver Beast that I've killed in here will spit those little worms at you once it dies. So In one of my earlier episodes, I talked about another lantern that I felt was pretty hard to find. This is the one that I was thinking about. Uh, it's not hard to find if you are good at exploring and being aware of your surroundings, but if you are just kind of running past and you don't think to look to your right and you don't think to go down that path from the get-go, you can miss that. And obviously, it's not a huge problem because if you die, you just go back to the Nightmare Lecture Hall, and you've got a decently short run back. But not putting it on the main path there, I can see people missing it and potentially thinking that there just wasn't a lamp until you get into the actual building that we'll get to in the Nightmare of Mensis here. So I'm just taking a look at some of the runes that I actually have. I don't tend to change these a whole lot unless I'm fighting a few bosses that I think benefit from having the runes on. I think I said most of the time I like to have the moon rune equipped because it gives you a passive increase in your blood echoes. Whereas the air rune, you have to get a visceral attack off before you actually get the increase in blood echoes. And sometimes that's just not always possible in some of these later levels. So for the most part, I kind of run through it, but that glowing red stuff that is happening, what that is the brain of Mensis that is casting down frenzy upon you. And the way that this level is set up, it's almost like you can take cover behind those little piles of skulls and rocks or whatever they may be. Because the brain of Mensis actually has to be looking at you and casting down that red light on you to actually frenzy you. And if you are behind something and it can't get a view of you, then it's not going to cause any frenzy and it's not going to bother you, really. As you can see, I kind of got cornered here a little bit. They do have those rock-throwing giants that we found in the Nightmare Frontier here as well. But yeah, the best way to, I think, take care of this is to honestly just run through it as quick as you can. As long as you are able to keep your frenzy down to about halfway, then typically you'll be fine. I very rarely ever got fully frenzied here, so it's never been a huge deal. But you can also add some sedatives to your hotbar if that makes it any easier for you to try to get through here. And you're going to want to come up here, you're going to open this door and see a giant spider. I tend to try to go up through here a little bit slowly because I don't want to trigger all the spiders that are around the larger spider. And of course, that's where you're going to find the first bell-ringing woman of the area. And you're going to want to take care of her if you do not want to be invaded. This tends to also be a pretty good PvP spot. So yeah, as you can see, like when we look around a little bit, not only is that giant spider hanging from the ceiling, but you also have this series of smaller spiders that we've seen in the Chalice dungeons before. And I actually tried to see if I could get any damage off on the larger spider, and I got a little bit, just to make her drop down. And right there, you can see that she can hit you through the walls. So you want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Don't stick to the walls too much. And just try to run through this area without even aggroing her, unless you really, really want to fight her. She takes a lot of health off. In fact, most of these spiders, the ones in the Chalice dungeons especially, they like to take a lot of health off, and so do these guys. The only thing is, even if you run through that area and just try to come through this little corridor here, the smaller ones will always aggro, and they will come after you. So you are going to have to fight them. And I thought about trying to take her down, see if I could maybe poison her with the rest of the poison knives that I had. See if there's anything I could do to get to her from range. But I decided against it in the end. So we're just going to go to this little bridge area here, and there is a hunter in the middle. So you're going to have a hunter fight. This one's pretty easy. He uses Ludwig's Holy Blade, I believe, and the Rosmarinus. But he's pretty easy to parry. He's very easy to knock down with Augur or Breedis, if you want to do it that way. And that's it. He's gone. And just gives you some sedatives for your trouble. I always thought that this area really looked cool and also really creepy. You've got these little, like, four-legged spider things that are just kind of hanging out on the ground and hanging out on the walls. And it just looks like something's just stabbed through their abdomens. It's really, really bizarre area. Really interesting. You'll see a few more bizarre things as we head down deeper in here. I always thought that these things, for one, are pretty strange. I don't really know much about what these guys actually are. But we're going to come down here, grab this elevator, and you're going to get to the second lamp of the area right here. And if you don't happen to grab that first one, this is going to be the first lamp that you actually get to. And I'm going to let this giant kill me again. Those guys can be pretty deceptive. Like, sometimes you'll think that maybe you'll get one down, but or that you have an upper hand on him or something like that, and then he just completely wrecks you with one or two swipes. Takes off half your health. But I got him in the end, throwing him off the cliff there. Now, you're decently safe from the Eye of Mensis here. But as you can see, my frenzy is slowly rising. I wanted to demonstrate the sort of cover mechanic that it kind of has here. But my frenzy kept building. I thought it was actually going to go off there. And there it actually does go off. I believe I've shown Frenzy maybe once or twice when I was fighting the Winter Lanterns in Nightmare Frontier, but I wanted to show it going off here in case anybody may have missed those episodes and wanted to see what it actually can do to you. Also, the level of Frenzy that the Brain of Mensis puts on you really seems to be a lot less than, say, the Winter Lanterns do. At least it seems like that to me. And that could also just be because I don't have as much insight as I may have had at that point in time. These guys hit really hard too. Just one attack from them can kind of stun lock you and throw you off balance. And if you get trapped by like maybe 2 or 3 of them, they can just pretty much stun lock you and take down all your health, given enough chances. I like that note there. I believe that note is talking about the larger woman that's down there. She can be a pretty big pain in the ass. She inflicts rapid poison on you. Takes a lot of health with her little chain whip that she has. But she can be parried fairly easily, even though I failed there. And there. Yeah, she is a whole lot quicker than she actually looks. And that axe does a whole lot of damage. In just a second, you're going to see some of the smaller ones. They're going to start shooting crossbows at you, I believe, here. And I didn't mention earlier just how tough and hardy these guys are. They can definitely take a lot of hits from pretty much any weapon that you throw at them. Of course, given the type of enemy that they are based on what they're wearing, a blunt type weapon may be more effective on them. A whole lot more effective than the serrated blade that I'm using right now. And I didn't want to fight her over there when I had a bunch of other people shooting at me, so I tried to lure her over here. Try to get as far away from those as I possibly could. And ended up knocking her down the hole. Always fun to be able to do that kind of stuff in this game. I said earlier, those guys can stun lock you pretty easily, but they can also be hit out of their attacks and also stun locked pretty easily, as long as you attack quick enough. So we come through this little area right here. We got this item, and then we're going to go up that elevator and head on to the next part of the level. I really like the way that this area builds in on itself. Very reminiscent of a lot of the designs in this game in general, but also with the design philosophy of Dark Souls 1 in having a larger area that just kind of complements itself by opening up different shortcuts. Now right here, you have crows with dog heads and dogs with crow heads. I remember seeing this for the first time when I played this game and actually being kind of freaked out and pretty disturbed by that image. Some really, really interesting things in the Nightmare of Mensis here. I mean, just look at that. That's gruesome. I love it. God, that's creepy. And the thing is, they don't really act that different either. It's just more of a visual, like, thing to make you uncomfortable as opposed to any real gameplay mechanic reason. And this right here, we're going to open up. This is going to be another shortcut. Takes us right down to that second lamp. Just to show that off for a moment. You can also hit that elevator and then roll out of it immediately. You don't have to worry about riding all the way down. Now, once we cross this bridge, you got these little ghostly apparition type things that come up, they float around, and they can stun lock you really easily and do a pretty decent amount of damage too. as you can see. And they like to back off really, really quickly when you start hitting them.
Cause. Or some say cosm. Do you hear our prayers? No, we shall not abandon the dream. No one can catch us. No one can stop us now.
So everybody say hello to Mikolash. Not the worst boss in the game, potentially, but definitely the most annoying boss in the game. And you know what? Maybe I would even call him the worst boss in the game. Because I absolutely hate fighting this guy every single time I have to do it. Basically, you just have to chase him. And you have to chase him long enough to make him go into a room where you're able to fight him. I will say, though, his theme is fantastic. This is one of the best themes on the OST that I can think of. And see, as you're chasing him, you have those spirit apparition, like puppet type enemies that are trying to attack you as well. And now you can catch up to him, you can get a few hits on him. But the moment that you get one or two hits on him, he teleports away. As you can see there for the second time. And finally, he'll lead you into this room. So once you get him down to about half health...
Oh, majestic! A hunter is a hunter, even in a dream. But alas, not too fast. The nightmare swirls and churns unending.
So you get him down to half health and he disappears. And then he starts talking to you again. And you are opened up to another part of his general boss arena here. And you can come down these stairs and you'll actually get a rune at the end of it, I believe. But you do have to fight a bunch of these enemies. Or you can just run past them like I think I do. But that's a good rune to get. Because that is the, I think, level 3 moon rune. Which gives you the most blood echoes that you can get. And basically what you have to do is you just have to find him again, you chase him again, and then he will eventually lead you to another room where you take care of him in the second phase of the boss fight. And he even has this little mirror thing now that whenever he goes into it, he will just disappear. You have to find him again and chase him again. But you know what? I didn't really feel like doing that anymore. So this is a way that you can cheese him. Once you find him and you're standing above him on this little balcony, you can shoot projectiles at him and he will not run away. He will disappear, he will come back from that mirror and stand right there again. Now typically you would do this with poison knives, but I did not have any poison knives. You can also do this with some Molotov cocktails, which I did not have any of. And if you have Bone Marrow Ash and strong enough blood tinge, you can take him down using your gun as well. But since I didn't have any of that, I went ahead and just used the Executioner's Gloves here. And take him down little by little by little. So my apologies that this takes a while, but I wanted to show that you can do this. While his second phase isn't necessarily difficult, he does have a Call Beyond, which will one-shot you if it hits you. And then you have to do this entire boss fight over again. And to be honest, I just wasn't really wanting to do that. And I do not like fighting this boss at all. I think it's extremely annoying. So I went ahead and just did this. And I wanted to show it off for anybody who actually might be having trouble with this boss fight. Because I know that there are certain people out there who do. I was one of them for the first few playthroughs until I finally figured out exactly what I needed to do to defeat him. And it wasn't this. I didn't actually learn about this trick until, a year ago or so. But yeah, if you have poison knives, you can poison him, and what will happen is he'll just continuously reset into that position. And then once the poison wears off, you just poison him again and he'll continuously reset into that position. And he'll just keep going until he's gone. So that is also helpful if you want to do the second phase of the fight, but you want to take him down to maybe, a quarter of health or something like that. That is actually going to help you out as well. So if you find him on that balcony area and you just don't want to fight him at, his full second phase health, you can definitely just stand there, take a little bit of his health down, and then go into the second phase of the fight and do it legitimately. And I'm sorry that I didn't do it legitimately, but like I said, I can't stand this boss fight. I didn't really feel like doing it, and I wanted to show off that there are ways around it if you actually are having trouble with the fight. Now, we did get that moon rune during the fight itself, but you don't actually have to do it during the fight. You can wait until the end of it, and you can run back down those stairs, grab that, and then come up here, run across the bridge, and get the third lamp of the area. So now we're back here at the Hunter's Dream. We're going to spend some of these blood echoes that we got, and then we will be on to the next area in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in